Hi, good morning. This is Firefighter Paramedic Patrick Erickson, DeKalb Fire Department, and we're here today at Station 3. Over here off of Dresser and Annie Glidden. We're going to go ahead and start our day here today. Just showed up. This is my Explorer right here. So why don't I go ahead and take you on a tour, okay? Come on in. But in the morning, it's kind of like 4 brothers in a house. And Mom said, all right, clean the house, I'll be back in 5 hours. So, okay, well then everybody's all right. I got the bathrooms, I'll do the vacuuming, I'll do the mopping, and I'll, clean the kitchen. So they kind of just self-delegate, as far as what needs to get done, just as long as everything is done. So basically everybody pitches in to what needs to be done. And then when we're done, like if you're done with your task or your, chore that you get, that you've been assigned to or that you said you're gonna do, you'll go ahead and I'll say, hey Christian, did you get that vacuuming done yet? No, I'm still working on vacuuming the bunk room, but I haven't gotten to the day room yet. Oh, okay, well no problem, I'll go ahead and help you out with that. So everybody pitches in, everybody gets their stuff done as much as they possibly can. This here is our kitchen. Again, it's just like a house. We come in here, this is kind of like the domain of firemen. As far as we sit here, we talk about our day, we talk about the plan of the day. If we have various calls we want to kind of go over, we'll sit around a kitchen table and do it. This is a pretty big piece of firefighting history, is the actual kitchen table. So we had one of our guys at home design this table specifically. It's got hose couplings and everything on there like this, so it's a brand that he actually did all on his own. But we'll come in here and this is where we will eat. We've got our refrigerators here and our stoves and whatnot. Usually we pick guys to do the cooking. I usually do the cooking on our shift. Our lieutenant actually does a real good job of it too, so sometimes he'll do it as well. Yeah, we'll come on in here and we have, we eat at the same time as everybody else. During the week, breakfasts and lunches, the way that it works is that guys bring their own stuff in. Like for myself, for example, I'll bring in my own breakfast and own lunch. A lot of guys do that. Now on Saturdays and Sundays, we'll have breakfast together. Like we'll cook breakfast and then we'll cook dinner. Dinner, we all cook dinner, we'll go shopping, which we'll do a little bit later on. But like during the week, we just bring our own stuff in and we usually eat breakfast here. We'll get in at 7 a.m., we'll check our rigs for the day, make sure all of our equipment's good, our air packs are good, make sure that we're ready to go if we get a call. And then right around like 8:15, 8:30, barring anything else going on, is when we'll all go in the kitchen and we'll just, whatever we brought in for the day, like bagels or whatever. And we'll go ahead and eat breakfast in there and just kind of get a plan of the day and see what's going on. I'll let you witness in here, we do this on the weekends. On Saturdays and Sundays, we'll go out and we'll have some breakfast in the morning, and then we'll also then cook a meal for the rest of the guys for dinner. But yeah, breakfast we just do just on Saturdays and Sundays. It's kind of like the tradition you've had here for quite a while. Yeah.
It's like family time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just kind of like family bonding time a little bit. And, just kind of see how everybody's weekend's going, and kind of stuff like that. During the week, guys usually bring in their own stuff for breakfast, or they've got oatmeal and stuff in their lockers, so they'll be doing stuff like that. But during the weekends, this is usually part of the course, if you will. So,
what's on the menu today?
Today we're doing is a pretty big fan favorite with the firemen. We're doing biscuits and gravy with a little potatoes and eggs and stuff like that. So. Usually takes a while to cook, but usually flying around in here. I'm also kind of accused of being a little loud in the kitchen, but hey, it is what it is.
Meal preparation and cleanup is a necessary part of a firefighter's daily duties. Proper nutrition and good choices are always taken into consideration. There are no waitstaff or cleanup crew here.
So then go every day, we collect money from the guys collectively on shift, and then we go grocery shopping. That's why you'll see us out from time to time in the public doing grocery shopping in the morning. So we just kind of take up a collection for the guys, but we'll do shopping. Sometimes guys will go shopping before they come on duty, like what I did this morning. And you bring it in so then you don't have to leave and go to the grocery store right away in the morning. So. Here's that banging. You gotta get a little banging in there. That's in there. You can edit this out if you want. No, I'm just kidding. So, and the thing that is always difficult too when cooking and eating at the firehouse too is we also remember we're getting ready for calls. So there's times where we'll be in the middle of cooking dinner and we'll calls will drop and we just have to shut everything down and turn everything off and and go run out on calls.
Firefighters must be prepared to respond to any type of situation at any given time. Quick, effective response is always expected.
There really is no one specific day in the life thing. And if your police department will probably tell you the same thing. Is that, yeah, we do the cooking, cleaning, and the camaraderie amongst the guys and training, but no one day is ever the same. No one day is ever going to be the same as the next and the next and the next. Because when the tones drop and the call goes out, you could be facing everything. Last day we had a gas line rupture and caught an auger on fire and some other stuff. We haven't seen that in a long time. So it's kind of funny, when we were doing this the day in the life thing, you can film this and it'll be different the next day. But come together nicely, There's been a couple of instances where we've actually gone out for a meal. The biggest problem is in our job is that at the drop of a hat, when the tones go off and it's for your district and your rig that you're on, you gotta go, you gotta go. And so if you're sitting at a restaurant, you order food and all of a sudden 4 guys get up and run out the door, well then, it doesn't work out so well. But what we do also tend to do every once in a while is, and this happens a lot when we get a day where we're just absolutely swamped and nobody can get to the grocery store and all these things, is that we will order out. This is, we're very blessed to be in a college town, so
plenty of choices.
Yeah, that there's not only plenty of choices, but it's pretty cheap. Pizzas are a dime a dozen around here, so we try to still stay, make the best choices as we can, but yeah, as far as that, we'll order out and get stuff delivered here. But as far as going out to a restaurant, it's pretty much slim to none, just because of the convenience factor and the fact that if we've got to go on a call, then kind of messes things up a little bit. This is our EMS radio reports room, and what we'll do is we've got various tough book computers in all of the rigs, and what we'll do is we'll come in here, we'll do a lot of our reports. We've also got our computer that's in here that we'll be able to do what we call our firehouse reporting. Every single incident that we get needs to be logged onto a firehouse database to make sure that we're keeping track of our run calls, keeping track of what's going on in the public, etc. So we'll be able to do a lot of that in here. We also do a lot of training in here. We watch a lot of either videos, there's a lot of different websites as far as firefighting and car accidents and EMS related. We'll watch various training videos. We'll get various DVDs from a lot of different fire companies and EMS companies that we'll go ahead and watch if we get a new product that comes in that we want to make sure that we're well versed on. We'll watch videos in here to make sure that we're well up to speed as far as what's going on. And we keep them on all the rigs, all the ambulances and the engines all have these things. And there's 2 different main purposes we have for this. This is our status screen right here. And what this shows is, where all the vehicles in town are. It's got everything from all of our chief vehicles to all the engines, ambulances, etc. So if we know that someone else is out on a call in a different part of town and they get a call in that same part of town, then we know, okay, well, this ambulance is tied up, so we're going to need to go to a different part of town to do that. Okay, so they basically look a lot for that. The medical portion of it is this here, and we call it our ZOL program. And this is the program every single time where we end up we get a call. We either do it while we're with the patient or transfer over while we're doing patient care. We'll write it down on paper, and then we'll come in here and we'll type in all their pertinent information, and it gets saved to a server for the hospital records. If the doctors want to pull up that particular patient's file of what we did before we took them to dropped them off at the hospital, they can go ahead and pull that report to kind of see what patient care was beforehand. And in this hallway here, this is our map hallway, and this is actually a pretty important part. We've got right here, this is our district that we cover. So if we end up getting a call or a tone out, we'll be able to come here, not only find where the particular road is, but I don't know if you can see it, there's some numbers on here. These are the actual physical addresses. So we'll be able to...
Knowing where you are going is key to getting there quickly. And in this ever-growing community, you have to know your streets and subdivisions. There is no time for getting lost or wrong turns.
These are fire hydrants. So if we end up getting a major structure fire before we go out on the call, we can kind of say, okay, if we had a fire, let's say at this particular address on Edgebrook, we'll know, hey, there's a hydrant right here and one down in the corner. So we can kind of pre-plan as far as where rigs need to go. Okay. And what this map here too is, if you zoom in on it right here, not only do we have where the streets are, but we'll have specific street addresses. So you see the numbers right into here. Another important part is we have our fire extinguishers, which are what these red dots are here. And what this is good for is, let's say if there is a fire on Edgebrook, this Edgebrook address here, well, we'll know that, hey, there's a hydrant here and in here, and then one down the road here, so that when we go to this particular address, we can be able to stage vehicles properly at particular hydrants to kind of speed up the fire suppression duties even that much faster. So.
What areas do you guys cover? Is it only DeKalb, or do you guys cover Sycamore as well?
Well, what we do is we do have the DeKalb, city proper. We do cover all of Northern Illinois University. And we do also have what we call a member of the protection district, so it's some of the external rural areas of the town of DeKalb. Now, as what we do is, as far as mutual aid, we also do mutual aid with all the surrounding communities, such as like Sycamore, Malta, Cortland, Genoa, Kingston, Kirkland. If they need assistance with calls, they will contact our dispatch, then we'll dispatch it out to us, and we will go ahead and assist them.
I believe overall our district is about 72 square miles that we cover, and 54 of those are rural. So obviously out in this area there's a lot of farmland. We're kind of unique in that we have a big city, a metropolis, if you will. It's in the middle of all this country that we're surrounded by. And so we really do have a unique variety of things that we see, from the things that you would expect from a major city all the way to the agricultural kind of accidents and things of that nature that only the more rural communities would see.
On this other side, this is kind of what we call our mutual aid wall. And what this is that if we ever have to go out to any other towns to do calls, we can go ahead and look here. We've got Genoa, Cortland, we've got Malta addresses. This is the big one for us. These are our partners to the north, I guess you could say, in Sycamore. It's got all the specific streets on into here. So if we ever get toned out for any particular calls in any other town, then we can go ahead and go here. We'll also get that information from our dispatch, as well as we'll have guys in the firehouse doing what everybody else does at home, going on to Google Maps and typing in a particular address just to get the coordinates to make sure that we know exactly where we're going, because it's not our town. So we want to be familiar with that. We receive more mutual aid than we actually give out to other surrounding communities. We do have a lot of instances where these ambulances, all of them are going to be out on various calls throughout every district here, both in town and the fire protection district. So we're going to need a lot of assistance from surrounding communities. Primarily Sycamore does come out and help us out a lot. If we get structure fires, we immediately start calling in various towns. We call in, again, Genoa, Kingston, Malta, Kirkland, Shabana, Waterman, Sycamore. We call in a lot of other communities to help us out. So even a department this size, we do also require a lot of mutual aid to be received within the community. This is our gear lockers right here. What we'll do is we'll keep all of our stuff stored here in case we come in off duty for a structure fire, or if just to keep our stuff stored when we're not on duty. So this is where we keep all of our stuff here. But as far as where my gear is for the day, mine's actually stored right in here. And this is where we keep all of our gear for this. This is our coat.
Being prepared means having the right gear with you and in proper working order when you arrive at the scene.
But this is where we keep all of our stuff here in case we end up getting a call. Now the question was posed to us as far as where do you get dressed. All of our gear is stored in the rigs just in case if we do need to get on a call. We've got the stuff at our disposal right away. Even if we're out and about, we've got it right there. But as far as getting dressed, usually it's right here. And there's guys kind of shuffling around depending on what the call is. Again, get our stuff on and go. These are our truck belts right here. And in the back here, there's rope tied with they call it a carabiner right there. And what this a lot of is used for is a lot of search and rescue. If we need to clip onto an outside and go inside of a building, we can go ahead and utilize our rope to kind of get our bearings to where we're at, as well as if we need to do a quick escape. And here is where our mask is. This is where we kind of keep everything in here. We need to keep it protected, so that's why it's in that bag. These are our masks that we go ahead and wear. We make sure we keep them cleaned every day, make sure that they're tested, make sure that the seals are nice and tight. This here is our Nomex hood, and what this does, this will go over your head, protect your ears and the back of your neck in the case of a fire. And then you can see here, these are our vests too. This is someone else's gear, but we have to wear these vests in the case of car accidents, especially medical calls, any type of calls where we're out on a road, on a busy street, intersection, to make sure that we're highly visible to the public. So we have those too, and this is actually mine. It's hanging on my coat right here. And then we've got our helmets, which is right into here. These are tested. These are actually we get brand new helmets here from Grant. We make sure that they're tested, make sure everything's working okay, make sure our flashlights work okay, and stuff like that. And then this is a big tradition that we have a lot with the fire service. Guys put pictures of their families that are in there because when we end up going to a structure fire, the last thing you put on is your helmet, and the last thing you want to see is your family. So that's just a picture of my family with my wife Jennifer, my kids Nick and Ava in there. So they love coming to visit Dad at the firehouse all the time. So yeah, so these are all, make sure that we're tested. We've got the shields here, and a lot of this can be utilized for if we're pulling ceiling down for car accidents. Basically any time that we're going to be wearing these where we're going to need some extra eye protection. If we're cutting apart cars, we have goggles, but you can also put these down for just that added extra protection for your face and eyes and whatnot like that. So this here is our main front line fire engine right here with our Husky logo that we had made for this particular house out in here. What this will usually currently staff is we've got a lieutenant that's on here as well as our fire engineer. And that is usually a set crew. However, there are times like today where guys will trade different days and be just given different roles for that particular thing. So this is this engine here. If you look down into here, we've got another assortment of all of our rigs. This is our backup fire engine. We've actually had this for quite a while. This is our engine 4. If we never need to have repairs done to one of our frontline engines, we'll go ahead and use this. If we have a major structure fire where we'll do a recall, which that means we'll be recalling all the guys off duty to come to this particular fire incident and we need it, we've got this extra equipped engine right here that can be able to take care of all of its needs. This particular ambulance right out here, this is our frontline ambulance. We call it Medic 3. And I can open this door here for you too. This is our front line that comes out in this particular area. So I'll open that for you. So yeah, this is actually what I'm on today. Right into here, it's got a full array and assortment of full medical equipment. I can show you that a little bit more in depth later. But we've got all the medications, all the equipment needed to perform any task. This ambulance also will have a driver and a senior paramedic, which is what my role has been assigned to today, that rides on this rig. There's going to be times when we're going to be teaming up together. There's going to be times where, like, let's say, for example, there's a minor medical call, such as an eval, a sick person, just a minor cut or a minor injury, that this ambulance will only go out just with the two of us on there because we've got everything that we need. And it's a basic call so that we don't need to have the masses come out and help. Now, sometimes we might give a call where it's a major medical incident, such as strokes, heart attacks, cardiac arrest, codes, major injuries, major falls, where we'll also utilize this engine. This engine's got a full assortment of medical equipment that's on it, as well as the manpower. So in that particular case, the engine would be following us going out to this particular call if it's a major medical incident. But if there's a car accident call, we both would be going. However, in this instance, the ambulance would be following the engine. And the reason why for that is the lieutenant on board the engine will be the first one to arrive on scene. And what they'll do is they will assess the scene for hazards, just assess the scene generally of what we're dealing with here, and patients, to see if we can handle it with just our ambulance, or if we need to contact other ambulances here in DeKalb from other stations. Or we've even had some instances where we'd be contacting Sycamore or anybody, other agencies in the area to assist us out. So in that case, we'd be following the engine. What this is our inventory list right here, and it's got 5 pages worth of all the items that's on this ambulance. And as you can tell, it's pretty itemized. We need to really count to make sure that we've got everything. And in this here, this is our final vent hose, and what this does, this actually is a very big benefit for our health. It hooks onto the exhaust of all the rigs. And what this does is that if we start a rig every time, it's going to be started inside. So if you think about over a duration of time, constantly starting the rigs while guys are in here, you're going to get that buildup of carbon monoxide and just gases that are going to be eventually hazardous. And if you do this over a 20, 30-year career, it could be detrimental to your lungs and your health. So these are here, when the rig gets turned on, it actually sucks the exhaust up and out of the building to kind of keep us safe.
Vehicle and equipment maintenance must be performed carefully and thoroughly. When the call for help comes, you have to be absolutely sure you are ready to respond.
What we're doing here is he's actually going to just making sure that all the levers are working properly, just making sure that all of our equipment's in good operational order, just kind of exercising all the gaskets. We do this every Monday to make sure that if we find anything that's wrong with it, we'd rather find it out here versus at an actual house. So that's what we're doing here, and he's working on that right now. Right there, that's one of our pike poles. What that is, that's going to be utilized to pull down ceiling. Could be utilized to pull anything down from a particular height. This has got a point of contact in here, so that'll be able to puncture through, let's say, a ceiling, like a drop ceiling tile. And what this will do is it'll get it, and you'll be able to pull stuff down. We utilize this a lot during and after fires to make sure that there's no fire that's hidden up within the rafters and within the ceiling, up within attics, etc. So that's what these are utilized for here. So you make sure all tools and ladders and everything is all properly exercised. Just kind of getting all the loose debris and rollers off the boat. Where you saw before we got it out of, it's obviously exposed to the weather elements. So it's going to get some stuff on it. So this is going to kind of make sure that it stays clean and proper. Since I'm on the ambulance today, we're going to go ahead and start our inventories in here. Now, in an ambulance, it's pretty important. In an ambulance, it's pretty important to make sure that we've got all of our things up to date. We need to make sure that all of our medications are up to date. We need to make sure that all of our equipment's up to date. We need to make sure our equipment's in proper working order because, you know, a lot of times when this ambulance is getting called out, it's not just for a sick person or something basic. A lot of times it could be for something pretty major, pretty severe. So we want to make sure that those are good. All right. And what we're doing right now is Christian's is going through the containers and cabinets and just kind of letting me know what we've got. So we're in cabinet 6.
Teddy bears.
Oh, it is a teddy bear.
The Cal Fire teddy bears.
We do give those out to kids. We do get a lot of kids back here. They get pretty scared. So what we like to do, and I'm a sucker for kids, because I've got 2 small ones of my own. So, and I'm a kid at heart, you know. But in any event, we do give those out to kids, and it does work. I mean, you get a kid who'll come back here, it'll be just absolutely scared, and they get one of these, and we'll tell them, hey, you got to name the bear and everything else, and they do, and it just calms them down and makes it that much better. So, but we even need inventory on bears. How many bears we got?
We got 2 bears.
2 bears.
Check off the bears.
All right, checking off the bears. All right. So you're going in cabinet 6 right now?
Sure.
Okay. So what do we got on BP cuffs?
We've got
Child, XL, regular, and
Proper inventory of all necessary items is taken, including teddy bears. Nothing is left to chance. You don't want to respond to an emergency situation only to find out you are out of something you need.
It's not just bandages and tape and needles, stuff like that. It's everything. I mean, there's stuff on here for if we have water rescue. This rig's got some water rescue equipment. It's got backboards and seat collars for the event of accidents and injuries that we need to make sure we have that all not only in the rigs but clean and ready to go. Another thing we do on Monday is oxygen inventory. And what that is that all of these rigs, all the ambulances and both engines has portable oxygen tanks. And we need to make sure that they're all filled, that they're all properly working, that within the tank that there's masks and everything available, because we'll utilize that a lot. The majority of our ambulance calls, we're going to be using oxygen. And so we need to really make sure that we don't walk into somebody's home and we turn the bottle on and all of a sudden it's empty and they have a hard time breathing. What we're going to do now is, this is another thing we have to check. This right here, we'll sit back for a second, this is a monitor. This is probably one of the most important things we have in the back of the ambulance. This is going to check their vitals, and if in the event that we do need to help resuscitate somebody, it's not like the old days you see on the TV where they rub the paddles together and they do all this stuff. This is what we utilize now to deliver electronic shocks to the person's heart to resuscitate them. Well, what we'll do is we'll make sure we'll check the batteries, check everything, and we'll even do blood pressures just to make sure. So I've got Christian here. Oh, all right, he's going to be our patient.
Firefighters and paramedics are trained professionals that provide the immediate on-scene care to the patient. These critical minutes before arrival at the hospital can mean the difference between life and death. Emergency response personnel are the eyes, ears, and hands of the physicians waiting at the hospital to take over the patient care.
And as you can see on the screen here, I don't know if you can get this down a little bit. It's kind of going through his blood pressure right now. Hey, you're getting enough oxygen. Pulse is low, and it's because it's getting the blood cut off to it. But we'll make sure that we'll go ahead and do this stuff. This also has a really good capability. There's a button on here, excuse me, it says 12 lead. And what we're able to do, and this is really cool, is we're able to take a picture with the stickers and the wires hooked to their body, take a picture of somebody's heart. Hey, nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Take a picture of somebody's heart and electronically transmit it from this directly to the hospital so that they can get ready for us before we even come in there. We have a thing, it's called code STEMI, and what that is that we believe if we do this stuff, we find that there's problems that we're seeing on the monitor that, okay, something doesn't look right. When we do our inbound radio reports, we say, okay, Kishwaukee Hospital, we have a possible code STEMI, and they'll activate on their end the cath lab and everything else needed right off the bat so that when we get them there, him or her who's on the cot as a patient could get seen and go into surgery that much faster. And we found that it does have a very good patient success rate with it. So that's pretty big in here. But hey, you're gonna live to see another day. Okay, right now we were just dispatched out for a fire in the front of a home. Unknown nature at this time. As soon as officers are arriving on scene, they're already stating at this time when we're leaving the firehouse that we do have flames and smoke showing. We also look at the time of day that this is going to be, so we already know we're going to be dealing with some traffic related issues. It's a pretty nice sunny clear day, so we can go ahead and make sure that the weather is going to be right as far as wind direction. You can see here as we're navigating down the major thoroughfare here that it can be difficult for folks to not pull over, so we have to navigate as safely and effectively as we possibly can. We're already looking over here to the northwest, and we can already see that there's a header of some black smoke, so we do know that there is an active fire going right now. If it's white in nature, that usually means that the fire is near extinguishment or it has been extinguished. But as we're turning, heading westbound right now on Bethany Road, we're going to be taking a look at a pretty good header of black smoke in the area. We do know that this is involved in a residential area, so we're also thinking at this time, okay, is this merely in the front yard? Is this a home? Is this a vehicle? Could be a number of things. And as we turn the corner right now, you're going to start to see that there's some rigs available on scene right now to go to work.
Chief 3's arrived on scene.
One of our chiefs right there is actually putting himself on scene to make sure that a command has been established. And we already do have some lines on the fire. We pulled up here. We did see that there was an auger. Per witnesses on scene stated that the auger was digging into the ground, ruptured a gas line which caused the fire. The person was able to get off the auger in enough time, but we did have an active fire going. And the problem with this is gas fed. So you're going to have to make sure you just put a water curtain on it. You're not going to be able to extinguish it until we get to the source. You're seeing here that water is actually hitting the home as well as raining down on the scene of the fire. The reason being is the close proximity of where the fire is located. We have to, what we say in the fire service, protect exposures. During this incident, we were monitoring both heat and gas levels in that home and in the home next door, consistently cooling the area. And as you can also tell, this is during a warmer time of year, so you have a lot of that has to do in effect with making sure that the area is kept cool. Right now we're getting a game plan of attack. That's the lieutenant from Engine 3 kind of directing as far as where we want to go here at this point. But as you see, we've established an effective water curtain that's not only cooling the seat of the fire, but also cooling the home that it's located right around us. And you can tell with the flow with the gas that it can come in spurts to where it's a low-lying flame, and then all of a sudden it could hit a bubble in the gas line that would go ahead and create it to rise in temperature. This is a very, very hot fire because it's not driven just by wood from a normal house fire. This is driven by gas. So at this point also, prior to arrival of all the rest of the crews, command would have notified dispatch to contact Night Corps as soon as possible, because we do see that we have a ruptured gas line. We're going to need their assistance in extinguishing the fire. Those homes right there are being monitored for both heat and gas levels. We have 2 active engines right now with water and hose lines coming off of it, creating a water curtain, attacking it from both ends. We were advised by NICOR to stay across the street in case of an impending explosion. We have a firefighter here that has a gas track machine, and he is down under the ground monitoring the gas levels to see if there was any seepage underneath the ground. You can see in the house next door that it's an unmanned hose that's called a mercury monitor, and that's on the ground. That's able to create a water curtain upon the seat of a fire without risk to a firefighter right there being that close to the gas line. As we were continued to be advised throughout this process by NICOR and by command to stay across the street in case of an impending fire and or explosion. By also utilizing thermal imaging cameras, we were able to make sure that there was no hot spots and or flame or fire damage to any of the exteriors of these homes. As once it gets underneath that siding, a lot of these homes can have trap areas where fires can occur. And there's that mercury monitor right there, creating a cooling effect and a water curtain effect upon the auger. It's very safe in an instance like this where we want to make sure that we are effectively putting out the fire but not risking our manpower, and that's why those are very effective in that case. This here is the view from the backyard of the fire. As you can see, there was a generator right there, and you can already see there's some heavy fire and smoke damage to it. Burn marks all the way around, and the generator actually ended up being fully destroyed in this. There's your gas meter right there. And in the background there you see some gentlemen in yellow vests. That's NICOR. It's currently on the scene. There they are again with our command. What they're doing right now is formulating a game plan. We have a backhoe that's in here right now. And what they have decided is to attack it from either end of the fire, to dig down into the ground, to get a hold of the gas main, and in a sense crimp off the gas line at both ends. Member of NICOR, it's up top, consistently monitoring the atmosphere. And there's the one end of the gas line. This is one of their crimping tools that they put on. First establishing it in its place, and now crimping down the fire. And as you can see, as it's crimping the gas line, flames are getting lower and lower, and eventually the fire does go out. This here is our whiteboard, and what this is kind of like our giant shopping list. This is going to have everything that we need to notify all of the other crews that work out here. We've got 3 shifts, so we want to make sure that the crews before and after us are well informed of what's going on. Right here is vehicle pass on. These are if any changes have been made to a particular rig, etc., or if a rig might need repairs, we'll put that stuff on into here. Our station needs is kind of like our grocery list, and this is our house for 24 hours. So if we need any type of like cleaning supplies, basic food supplies, etc., that list is going to go on here, to which where everything is stored at our downtown fire station 1, but we'll go ahead and get it from there. Vehicle needs, anything specifics, our engines and our medics right here. They'll have all those various things in there. What this here is we like to do a lot of different training, like to challenge each other. We always need to make sure that we work out every day, workout times in the afternoon. But we want to make sure that we always, our knees, our back, we use a lot of those things in this job. And so this is from the crew from yesterday. Looks like they were doing some interval training. We'll probably do something different today, but guys like to motivate each other to make sure that we're working out every day to stay in shape. And up here, this is our tally board. We don't like to see this, but this is our line of duty deaths in the United States, and we're up to 67 guys that died in the line of duty this year. This is just kind of like a reminder that things could change in a heartbeat, and we want to honor those guys that have passed away, as well as just making sure that we stay safe on the road. We've got our backup ambulance right here. This might be an ambulance you might see a lot at various NIU events. We've got, I can actually open that door for you here. This goes to a lot of the football games. This goes to a lot of the basketball games. You'll see it at the Convocation Center, Husky Stadium, as well as other different NIU events that occurs. With the ambulances, again, both rigs have fully staffed with two firefighter paramedic personnel and a full array of medical equipment on both rigs. Normally a lot of people don't realize, but yes, these engines also have all the medical equipment that's on there, because if the ambulance, let's say in this house, is on another call, but there's another call in this district, that engine's be able to do what we call a first response, to do initial medical care before that second ambulance will come in. Okay. This is our elliptical machine right here. A lot of guys like to work on this because it almost simulates you walking up flights of stairs. So you'll even see guys from time to time, they'll get on these kind of machines here, or the treadmills, but they'll get on something like this and actually put an air pack on to kind of simulate climbing up and down the stairs. We have designated workout times we do every day. Come into the gym at like 2 o'clock and work out. Saturdays and Sundays, it's pretty much wide open to whenever you want to get in there and work out. But it's pretty beneficial that we really strive on physical fitness, because this job can be so demanding that you want to make sure that you're ready at any time.
Being a firefighter is physically demanding. Staying fit is an essential part of the job. It's been an unusually quiet afternoon when the call comes. A traffic accident has happened on a major highway during peak traffic time. Everyone is ready, and the response begins. This is what they have trained for.
Okay, what you just heard, there was a tone that we had. We've got a motor vehicle accident. It's up on Sycamore Road, 2 vehicles. We've had airbag deployment. We possibly might have some injuries, so we're going to go up there right now and check out the situation, check out traffic, patient count, damage, etc. All right, what we've got here is we've got 2 vehicles. We've got some pretty moderate damage. We've got heavy front end of the one. We've got a side impact on the other. We're on Sycamore Road here right now, so we're going to have traffic, police department come on out and direct traffic, stop traffic, make sure we all keep safe. We've angled our engine at such a point where we want to make sure that not only are we kept safe, that the patients and the vehicles that were involved in this incident are kept safe as well. We're going to take a look for fluids that are leaking from underneath the vehicle to make sure that they're mitigated so they're not going into the sewer systems, etc. And we're also going to be doing initial assessment on the patients involved, as well as we've got our ambulance and battalion chief en route right now that are going to be doing some further assessment on these patients to see if any further care and or transport to the hospital is needed. Vehicle accident. All patients were accessible. They actually all got out of the vehicle on their own, which is a great thing. We had some very moderate damage, especially one of the vehicles was heavy front end damage. But they're actually self-extricated themselves, which means they're able to get out of the vehicle on their own power. We had the ambulance give them assessment. They did not want to go to the hospital, so refusal forms were signed. We were able to make sure that the fluids stopped running all over the pavement with the use of oil dry. We do have a tow truck en route now that's going to be taking care of these vehicles, getting them off of this roadway. The police department is still blocking some of this traffic to make sure that it's safe for to get these vehicles on out of here. But all in all, the incident ended up pretty well for everybody. Unfortunately, we do see death from time to time. We do everything that we possibly can for that patient. And we've had some success too. We've had some folks that have been, brought back to life, resuscitated. So it's just, but it's unfortunate, but it is part of the job. We do see, also we see, death from, gruesome injuries and shootings. And when the Cole Hall shooting happened, remember it was a pretty cold day. It was in Valentine's Day of 2008. And we were called immediately on our cell phone by our battalion chief. Our battalion chief at the time, he said he was just driving through campus, just kind of checking things out. The bosses kind of tend to do that from time to time, and he all of a sudden saw a bunch of kids running at him, cut up, covered in blood, screaming, and yelling for help, hitting his, knocking on the window, saying there's somebody shooting kids in Cole Hall. So we ended up going there, and we were immediately flanked by law enforcement. So we continued to approach in to help those who didn't succumb to injuries. And I can remember going in there, and there was bullet holes and glass shattered in the main corridor there. I was a student here from 91 to 95, and I had a lot of classes in that auditorium. And actually that's one of the places where I met who's now my wife. We had a class in that hall together. But I remember just the smell of gunpowder and backpacks everywhere and cell phones just ringing nonstop. And I remember there was the engine crew from out here was already inside, and they were kind of, the captain at the time was yelling out orders of who needs to go where and do this, this, and this. And we did grab one of the patients and tried to resuscitate. We had a minor pulse, and so we brought the patient out to the ambulance as fast as we could. You're doing CPR, you're doing medications, you're doing everything you can to try to save that person. The patient had a faint pulse and ended up dying from the gunshot wound injuries. So. But yeah, that was probably the most memorable call that I've seen here. And I think it was just, has to also do, like I said before, with the familiarity of everything, and just how the guys rallied together. That there's a statement and a word in this job. It's called brotherhood, and what that is, you hear it in the military a lot too. But what that is it's a group of guys forming together. This is our second family. We're going to see things that the public's not going to see. We're going to be dealing with things that a lot of people in the public, I'll be honest, can't deal with, and you rally together, you group together, you deal with things together, and to get a common goal done, which is to do our job and to go home safely the next morning. Overall, I've been doing this job now for over 13 years, and that probably was still the most memorable call that I had.
I'm Chris Seidel. I'm a lieutenant on shift 2 at the DeKalb Fire Department. This is Station 3. I've been in the department for almost 19 years. I was on other departments in the suburbs for about 4 years prior to that. My duties here are a supervisory role for frontline firefighters and responsibility for this station every third day when that's my shift. There's an engine and ambulance that run out of this station, so there's, including myself, a crew of 4. And we provide firefighting and EMS protection for the city of DeKalb, and as you heard earlier, for the rural area also. And our district is primarily the university district, so it can get pretty crazy out here and pretty busy. Some of my most memorable moments through my career, the good calls when you actually make a difference helping people for a good outcome, and getting promoted was a pretty memorable experience for me. And as for the bad side, the hard, difficult calls, anytime you see someone lose their life, especially for me, I think the older you get, you see when younger people, anywhere from the college age to infants, that's a little bit more difficult to get by with. In a typical day, we work a 24-hour shift. We work 1 out of every 3 days. So today's Monday, so the next time we would be on duty would be this Thursday. And the 2 days off give us the time off. So we come into work at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., one of the first things you do is find out your vehicle assignment, what station you're going to be at, what position. After that, you perform your vehicle checks, checking out your personal safety equipment. After that, we generally find out what the plan of the day is, which means what type of training we're going to do, if we have any specific tasks to perform. Certain days of the week we do have set projects that we have to do, set things, such as Wednesdays we check light bulbs. It might seem ridiculous, but if we don't do it on certain days, then it never gets done and things get overlooked. We mow lawns on certain days. There are set weeks where Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays we perform certain types of training. 1 week might be firefighting, 1 week might be hazardous materials training, EMS training is 1 week, and then any specific team-oriented, such as rope rescue, and confined space training, or a particular item. The reason we do that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so all 3 shifts can, I guess, partake in the fun, if you will. That way nobody gets missed for the training. After that, which usually the training starts about 9 a.m. and sometimes it goes till noon. We usually break around noon for lunch. And this is all Monday through Friday scheduling. Then we usually after 1 o'clock we'll resume some form of training or finish whatever we didn't do in the morning.
Continuing training is very important. The DeKalb Fire Department is assigned the task of assisting on the sidelines as emergency personnel at NIU home football games, as well as other college and high school sporting events. Here, the DeKalb Fire Department received the latest training on new football protective gear. Keeping up to date on the newest equipment helps to ensure that in the event of an injury, medical response personnel can quickly and safely remove the protective wear from the patient without causing additional injury. Working as a well-coordinated team means each member must be equally knowledgeable and ready to meet the challenge of each new situation. Practice, education, physical as well as mental strength is required to meet the call of duty. Knowledge of any new or remodeled facilities is also helpful in the event a call for help comes from there. The emergency response crew will need to know the quickest and easiest way in and out of the building in order to provide the best care possible.
Amongst all this, you're still going to clean your station. The fire stations get cleaned every day. They get vacuumed, they get washed. The bathrooms get cleaned, everything. And then usually around 2 o'clock or after, we allot time for the personnel to work out, which we're afforded to work out every day. It is highly suggested that you do. It is not mandatory at this time. It is probably headed that way. And then there is no set physical regimen at this time, but everybody gets in there and performs some physical fitness duties. Along with that set training, to digress a little bit, Mondays is a vehicle maintenance day. Our primary focus that day is to go through each vehicle or specific vehicles and make sure they are full of the fuels and all their oils topped off, airs in the tires, and all the items that are supposed to be in that particular vehicle are there. Fridays is kind of a catch-up day. Sometimes if you have some particular task you want to accomplish, you'll do that. If we have like one of our younger firefighters today is on probation still, he has probationary things, that's a good day to fill out some of his probationary evaluation forms. And then weekends, Saturdays and Sundays are a little different schedule. We have a little bit more flexibility and free time on the weekends, even though we still do our vehicle and safety checks every day. Usually about 4 o'clock, after 4 o'clock is our time. And that's where we can sit back and watch TV. As the weekends also, we can watch TV. Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. until noon, you're not supposed to be in, this is what we call a day room, which is equivalent to your living room. We're not allowed to watch TV except during the lunch hour and then after 4 o'clock. So if you come into a firehouse in DeKalb and you see a TV on Monday through Friday at 10 in the morning, somebody's not doing what they're supposed to do. And that is the quick breakdown of our daily schedule at DeKalb. And like I know one of the gentlemen earlier alluded to, that we are working in a college town, we are generally more busy at night. So that is why we tend to give a little bit more downtime in the late afternoon, so our personnel can be a little rested, because after you're up for 24 hours, it can be an extremely long night.
Shifts are different. That's the greatest thing about this job, is that, or one of the greatest things I should say, is each shift is different. First of all, it's the guys. Most of the time you work with the same group of guys, but then there's times where you work with different guys. Like today, Joe Wempy is my usual partner out here, but he is off today on a trade. So Christian then came out and filled in, so now him and I are on the ambulance together today. So you get a variety of guys that are out here. And then as far as the day is concerned, every day is different. You're going to have different training every day. And then as far as calls are concerned, it varies. We see everything. We've got a very diverse town here with young and old, the citizens, if you will, people that just moved here, the farming community that's lived here all their lives, and you've got, for 8 months out of the year, there's 20-some thousand new residents that come here from August to May, and with Northern Illinois University. So we tend to see a lot of different calls. We'll see everything from car accidents to fires to any type of medical emergency. So out here, you get to work and you never know what you're going to see.
Firefighter personnel have to be ready for anything, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When the call comes, they respond. Fires, accidents, medical emergencies, they have to be ready. Rain, snow, heat, cold, emergencies know no season or time. The men and women of the DeKalb Fire Department are always ready to respond.
How is teamwork implemented in fire safety?
Okay. Teamwork and fire safety kind of goes hand in hand. We've got teamwork when we want to be safe on a call. We all want to make sure that we work together for the common goal and that we work together to be safe. One example on a fire scene is breaking windows. Now I'm sure you've seen on TV and in the movies guys with their pipe poles, and all they run and do is run around there smashing stuff and glasses flying. Well, the truth be told is that if that is not done coordinated, which basically means, okay guys, I'm breaking this window, you introduce oxygen into a fire and you pop windows, like we like to call it, in just a random fashion, that could actually introduce oxygen into a fire and make the matter worse, could even make the house explode, could make the fire spread that much quicker. We had a fire a few years ago on South 1st Street where this happened. A window was popped and all of a sudden the fire flared up again. Now, if we had not been able to make sure that we had proper hose lines set to extinguish when it happened, who knows what it would have been the end result. We had another fire that was on East Lincoln Highway about 4 years ago that I actually happened to be inside of, and we got hose lines established in enough time, thank goodness, because the heat got so big in the house to where a couple of the windows popped and the entire first floor exploded. We were actually inside in the back, and we were okay. But the moral of the story is we all need to make sure that we're safe. On the scene of a fire and a car accident, we also, from our chief's standpoint, have established a safety officer. And a lot of times that's our assistant chief. Jeff McMaster does that a lot too, but it all depends on who's working on that particular day. And they wear the yellow vest, and on the back of it, it says safety. And his primary job to do is to continuously walk around that scene, do the 360s, as we like to call it. Make sure everybody's safe. Make sure they're not too close to the fire. Make sure that they're not getting hit with any fallen debris. Apartment buildings. I've seen apartment buildings where those window air conditioner units have fallen out, and if we didn't have a safety officer, guys might have been right there at the window, and it might have fallen right on them. It could very well have killed them. They make sure that guys don't look fatigued. So we send guys through rehab, which basically goes to the ambulance, checks their blood pressure and pulses, gets them water. If it's hot in the summertime, take off your gear, cool off. If it's in the wintertime, go inside where it's warm. So fire safety and teamwork play a very important role in a lot of major calls.
Coordinated, safe, and effective efforts are not achieved without constant preparation. Training for the routine and the not-so-routine situation is always being conducted. Continually striving for new and more effective methods while retaining the tried-and-true techniques is achieved through hands-on practice before it becomes a real-life situation. Veteran firefighters training side by side with newer members of the department ensure the most recent and practical methods are being taught. Extrication methods are gone over here. Different scenarios are gone over again and again. The emphasis is always put on getting the patient out as quickly and safely as possible, while being mindful of the rescuer's safety. This also assures to not cause further complications or injury in the process.
So we're talking, hey, help me ride. Don't breathe in the glass.
How many calls do you get a day or a night?
Okay. As far as call volume is concerned, we're right now, as far as from a yearly standpoint, we're averaging about a little over 5,000 calls a year. As far as on a particular day, it varies. For example, a college football, a home football game at NIU will get anywhere from 20 to maybe a little bit more calls a day. Homecoming, which just had happened, we had, I believe the final total was 39 calls in a day. We'll have, but I would say if you wanted to look for an average, I would say anywhere from 10 to 12, maybe 14 calls a day. Some days you get some days you'll have days when you'll get 3 calls as a department. And it's kind of a blessing in disguise. And some days it'll be the oddest day, like a Tuesday where you don't think anything's going on, and we'll have like 20 some calls. So, but I would say on the average anywhere from like 10 to 15. Time frame on calls, it varies depending on the type of incident. If we have a basic medical call, sick person, or an evaluation, those calls can tend to go a little bit quicker. If we have a major medical incident, those can go anywhere from an hour to much longer, 2, maybe even longer, 2 hours to handle. A lot of times too with our structure fires, if we have like a room of contents fire, that could probably be about 3 or 4 hours to all the way up to where we may have a fully involved house fire, and we might be there all night. I've seen house fires where we're there 8, 9 hours plus. And then after the fact, we have a thing called fire watch, to where Guys have to just kind of make sure that they stay there and that there's no hot spots to extinguish that might have flared up since we did the fire extinguishment. Yeah, as far as its specific time frame, what we do try to do, however, though, is we try to get back in service as quick as we can, because even though we're dealing with a different fire or dealing with a different medical call, etc., we also have the rest of the town to think about. So what we try to do is, okay, let's get the job done, let's get the task at hand completed, and then let's get guys back in service, because we've got X amount of square miles we've got to go ahead and take care of. The DeKalb Fire Department is a very big nighttime call-oriented department, to where a good deal of the majority of our calls are anywhere from dusk to overnight to late night all the way to the next morning. So it's kind of like, okay, you're winding down from the day that you had, but you're winding up getting ready for that night. So, but as far as like a nighttime routine is concerned, we'll do the working out like Christian was saying before, and then we'll shower up, and dinner's usually anywhere from like 5 to 6, and then after that we'll just kind of sit around, relax, maybe catch up on a little TV, read a book. That's when we also, like we were talking about before, catch up with our family and see how their day their days were and everything, and then guys go to bed at all different times. The younger crew, they might not go to bed until about 10, 11 o'clock at night. I, on the other hand, might go to bed a little earlier because I'm getting up there. Oh boy, but so it's just so it varies. But we all tend to hang out at night, and that's another good time too. And like Christian was saying before about talking about calls, is if we've gotten a call or a good training that we had during the day, that's also the time we might even continue to talk about it. Even at night, hey, that was that call that we had here. What was great about it? What can we have done different? And the next time this happens, how can we change it? That training, hey, maybe next time we can try X, Y, and Z instead of A, B, and C, stuff like that. So
I think that's really when a lot of our good discussion happens, is when we're kind of all, everything's been done. We're not concerned about things that need to get done in the station or equipment that needs to be repaired or whatever the case is. All that stuff is kind of out of our minds, and we're able to just sit down and reflect on the day and the things that we've seen and done, and that's really our opportunity to kind of go over if we've got questions about things. Myself, I'm pretty new here overall, so that's really my chance to just absorb. I get to listen to these guys and hear about some of the things that they've seen and done in years past, and it's a really good opportunity for everybody to just get to know each other a little bit better. And there's all kinds of there's no telling what our conversation is going to be. It's always different. There's times that guys might be struggling with something that's going on at home, and they just need somebody to vent to, and that's part of being the brotherhood and the family that we are to each other. And that's kind of our time to just be a crew, and like I said, it's a good thing that we have that time. Sometimes we get plenty of it, and other times it doesn't happen at all. Part of our physical fitness is the way that we eat, and like we were talking about before, dinner's really our one big meal that we have together. Our breakfast and our lunch is something that we kind of do on our own, but we do have an opportunity there as well to make good choices as far as the food that we're eating. And fortunately, a lot of the guys that do the cooking, are the younger guys, and we're totally geared towards staying in shape and overall the benefit of eating healthy for the department. So that's a cool thing that the younger guys have a little bit more pull when it comes to the food that we're eating, because we get to go out, we get to do the shopping, we usually do the cooking. So that's another huge part of it, and everybody has a different way of going about doing that, but overall I think we do a good job of keeping it healthy, and really adding that to making sure that everybody's staying in good shape.
Do you guys ever get called in on your days off?
Yeah, we do. We've got a thing, it's called a recall system, and all of us carry around these pagers. Yeah, time for dinner to cooking. We get these pagers here, and every one of the guys in the fire department, they have one of these pagers. And what happens is that if we get a call, we get all of our ambulances are out, for example, on various calls. Well, we need additional manpower, so our pagers at home would go off for them to come on out and fill extra rigs, to man the stations when they aren't currently being manned. If we get structure fire of any kind, usually what they call is an all-department recall, so then they would bring in all the guys from home as much as they could, as many guys as possible could come in and be able to assist with whatever duties are going on. So yeah, there are times when we're definitely called in on our off days to do stuff, and then there's guys also come in on their off days to do other things at the firehouse. Like myself, for example, I'm on the pension board, so we have a lot of different pension board meetings. And right now, we're also in the middle of a big charity organization thing that we're doing right now. It's called Operation Warm, and that we're actually just started on right now that you might start hearing about. It's Operation Warm DeKalb, to which we're raising money right now via a Facebook page and a website, to where we're raising money to purchase coats to give it to needy kids here in DeKalb later this year, because there's a lot of kids in the area that don't have coats, and we want to make sure we do that. This is the fire. You'll also see the fire department's a very charitable venture, to which we like to do a lot of these other things to help our community. These are the community that we serve and protect, and we also like to give back to that community. Last November, we were able to raise here in about a 4 to 5 month period over $40,000 to give away a brand new pickup truck to a wounded veteran. We gave it away at an NIU football game last November 13th. And we had the mayor and the governor and all dignitaries come on out for that. So that was a big thing. So a lot of those things, in addition to pension boards and executive boards and charitable things, we do come in on our off days to do a lot of those works too. So it's not just calls, but we do come in on our off days a lot.
There are no fire poles in any of the DeKalb fire stations anymore. A long time ago we used to have them. That's when the personnel would live upstairs in the fire station, and they would have to take the fire pole down to what we call the bay floor, the garage floor, if you will, and for speed to get in calls. The reason we don't have them anymore is we don't have living quarters above that area anymore, and also the main reason is because people were getting hurt. They were breaking legs, ankles, and when the city had to pay for that and pay for the overtime to cover them, they finally said, why are we doing this? And we don't have them anymore. And as for the dog, we do not have dogs in the fire stations, and that's due to people being allergic, and also in the event that if we had a dog and it would bite someone, if we had someone from the public visit, then the city would be responsible. So no more pets in the firehouses in DeKalb, no more fire poles.
Thank you very much for joining us out here today in the DeKalb Fire Department. We thank you for spending the day out here with us. And if you ever have any questions, concerns, or want to come on out and visit us, always feel free to stop on out to Station 1 and talk to our administrative staff or any firehouse here in DeKalb. But for all of us here at DeKalb Fire Department, thank you very much. And this is Firefighter Pat Erickson signing off, and have a good night.